to the DraftKings defense analysis for Week 16. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Cash game GPP defenses this week seems pretty straightforward in terms of cash. I think you and I are both on the same page of really where we're heading.
Yeah, I want to put some teams in cash, but they just aren't. I think when you're being reasonable about cash games, you probably just want to pay up this week and not get too fancy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, especially with this first one here, New England home matchup against the Jets, who've
Not the Jets. They don't get that label anymore. They are the team that's given up on their season. That's
yeah,
what they are.
the New York team buses. I think that's what they should be instead of like a traveling, you know,
The
they're a
New
jet, but
the New York team that's given up. That's
yeah,
that's what they are.
the New York
Patriots.
Southwest Airlines.
Patriots, obviously, bend but don't break. I still like Bilal Powell. I think you can play Bilal Powell with the Patriots defense, and that's not even a dangerous situation. So I think that's a great play, actually, because if the Patriots defense dominates, Bilal Powell's going to be catching random passes in the fourth quarter on that last drive. So I think that's a great correlation. And I just think the Patriots, against Bryce Petty, Brandon Marshall playing bad this year, it's just too easy. This one, easy.
Yeah, and they've been playing really well of late. Your next one here is Seattle, 3,700, home matchup against Arizona. Vegas really isn't giving the Cardinals much of a chance here.
I mentioned yesterday I was kind of looking at Carson Palmer for a hot minute here. Um, if Michael Floyd was still here and not getting DUIs, if John Brown didn't have the sickle cell trait, I'd be more interested in Arizona. But when you just think about how these teams match up, even without Earl Thomas, the Seahawks are going to be able to get pressure on Carson Palmer. And Palmer's just made so many mistakes this year and just hasn't been himself. Arizona just not really a playoff team this year. So, they do have David Johnson, but we saw Seattle pretty much lock him down last game. I know he had over 100 yards, but it was on 33 carries. So he actually wasn't that great against them. I expect more of the same here. Not to say you shouldn't play Johnson, but I expect the Seahawks to have some pretty decent upside in this game.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of GPP defenses, you're looking at a kind of a high price swerve. Los Angeles taking on San Francisco. What do you like about this one?
Uh, you know, these three games are all kind of these three defenses and GPPs are all kind of coin flips. In which way you want to get exposure to. I think you can get exposure to both sides. I think you know, just looking at what San Francisco has now without Vance McDonald, which obviously isn't a big name, but losing him was actually kind of important for their passing game. We haven't seen Colin Kaepernick really do much in the past few weeks. Rams front seven, I would pay attention to if Robert Quinn plays or not. I think that's kind of going to be really important determining whether you actually want to gamble with the Rams or not. If he does, I think him and Aaron Donald are enough to cause chaos for this San Francisco offense. If not, I think we probably see more of the same where the San Francisco team kind of chips away at you. This should be a really good bad game. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this should be a really close game. These two teams are kind of evenly matched, like with how bad they are on both sides of the ball. So, I actually think this game might be relatively entertaining from a, even matchup standpoint.
Like, you think it's going to be like 0-0
I
into the
think like
third?
10-3 is going to be the final score
Oh,
with a pick six for the Rams winning it.
real.
Like,
Could you see a safety? Maybe like 10-5.
oh yeah. No,
10-5.
11-5. Like, somehow they get 11.
Yeah, 1 for 2, kick a
Yeah,
field goal. Yeah,
field
11.
goal and okay, 49ers win 11-5. They go for a 2-point conversion and they get it passing to Quentin Patton.
That'd be good.
Yeah, 11-5, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
So, I mean, that's really what you're looking at. I'm not even we're going to have to play Todd Gurley, folks. We're gonna probably have to do it at least in some tournaments.
This is just pure bourbon right now. I'm getting ready for the girly play.
But I think we can maybe dance around with San Francisco's defense too if you're feeling a little funky, because the Rams passing game, they just don't have one.
No, I mean, it's non-existent at this point. And I mean, while we did see it was a long time ago, 15 weeks ago, we saw basically the Niners load the box against
Yeah,
Gurley, make it
and it
throw.
worked.
Yeah. So
So
we could see more of that here.
yeah, we're gonna.
Cincinnati, your next one on the road against Houston. We talked a little bit about this game yesterday on the salary exploitation. Reasonable price for Cincinnati's defense that gets, it's still a backup quarterback.
Yeah, the Bengals defense, against Pittsburgh, against even Joe Flacco, they're looking pretty bad this year, pretty below average. Adam Jones not really what he once was, and sort of the whole secondary kind of falling apart there. But as far as this game goes, they actually have a pretty stout run D in terms of some linebackers. So, if they can hold Lamar Miller down, I think they could make Tom Savage pay. I mean, I'm obviously going to be getting some exposure to Hopkins, maybe Ryan Griffin, Miller. But there's another side to this coin, and I think that's how you have to look at this matchup. Sure, Tom Savage looked good last week, but he's a backup quarterback. Bengals have a week of film on him now. We'll see if they start to pick up on some of his tendencies and whether, the wheels come off on this.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening. I mean, road matchup, Sunday night game, let's not just say Houston's going to come out and throw up 30 points. Let's get real.
Right, exactly.
So, Indy, your next one here on the road against Oakland. I mean, big, meaningful game for Indy. They got to keep on winning here to have a shot. And basically, I mean, at a punt price.
Yeah, give me Andrew Luck in any must-win situation. I mean, that's how I feel about him and Rodgers. I know these seasons kind of haven't gone as planned, but in must-win situations, at the very least, both of those teams are going to be passing like heck. If the Colts get up early, I think they could put the Raiders in a situation that they haven't been in for quite a few weeks, which is comeback mode. Now, that's to say, there's a lot of correlation in this game as well if you don't want to use the defenses. But I just think, Derek Carr, they're playing a very run-oriented game. I know they've been doing that most of the season, but even with deep shots to Cooper, those aren't even happening right now. It's a very possession passing game. And the Colts have actually been pretty reasonable defensively of late. So, you take out that Pittsburgh game where they got absolutely manhandled. They've actually been pretty good over the last few months. So, pretty interested in that from an upside standpoint at 2,500. Derek Carr obviously has that finger injury. I think that might be something to potentially attack.
I mean, the Colts weren't necessarily that bad in that Steelers game. I mean, obviously Antonio Brown, but
they just didn't
have.
Yeah, they just didn't have anyone to cover Antonio Brown, basically.
No, I mean, in that second half, I mean, they held him to just a touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean, they scored late in that fourth. They really put it away. But outside of that,
that's what I mean. That's the only time I can think of them looking completely overmatched. They've actually held it together. They're holding it together with sticks and duct tape and Elmer's glue, but
not even Gorilla Glue, just Elmer's.
No, it's working right now. So I can't knock it for 2,500.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, especially on a week where, there isn't a lot of clear-cut ways to go in terms of kind of position players. So I think kind of, you may be looking to pay up at wide receiver. The value's not quite as certain. I mean, it may be a week to kind of pay down at defense and GPPs.
Certainly.
So that's going to wrap things up with the DraftKings defense analysis for Week 16. If you want to check out Russ's article, you can head on over to dailyfantasycafe.com. Be sure to check out the rest of our Week 16 content.